We're going to begin this hour in Gaza, where the US Middle East envoy is visiting for the second time since President Trump took office. Steve Witkoff is going to tour an aid distribution site alongside the US ambassador to Israel. Well, this comes as pressure increases on both the US and Israel over the humanitarian situation in Gaza. The United Nations warn of increasing deaths due to malnutrition. Well, let's bring in our correspondent, Sally Lockwood, who is in Jerusalem for us for the latest. Sally, great to have you with us. So, Witkoff on the second day of his tour to the region, and it is now confirmed he will be going to Gaza.
Morning to you, Kamali. Yes, the White House confirmed that Steve Witkoff would be visiting Gaza today, and Israeli media is reporting already that Steve Witkoff has arrived in Gaza, along with the US ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who the White House confirmed would also be visiting an aid site in Gaza with him. Now, there's pictures circulating online. We haven't had them verified yet, but Israeli media are showing these images of a white convoy of armoured vehicles at an aid site in Rafah in the south of Gaza. There's also a large number of Palestinians there, it looks like, in some sort of queue or crowd waiting for food, but very organised, much more controlled than some of the scenes that we see on a very regular basis coming out of Gaza. So we're still awaiting confirmation officially that Steve Witkoff is there at that aid site in Gaza, but Israeli media are reporting that, and the White House has confirmed that he will be visiting Gaza today. But the backdrop of this visit is very different for Mr. Witkoff from his last visit in May. In May, yes, people in Gaza were already suffering. They were dying in bombardments and in fighting. But for the most part, people weren't dying due to hunger. And it was in May that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was established by America and by Israel, this new way of delivering aid to people in Gaza, a militarized method of a service that essentially was being carried out by people who weren't experienced at aid delivery. And it's proved, for the most part, to be quite controversial and disastrous. So it's going to be very interesting to see Mr. Witkoff's reaction to this visit, the fact that there are now these images being shared around the world of people in Gaza who are dying of hunger, who are starving. You know, we're hearing reports on a daily basis of people who are losing weight, of people who are losing their lives trying to get to these aid sites and get food. And it's just so lethal and proving extremely unsafe. So, you know, what will be achieved in this visit? Well, it's really hard to say. But what message Mr. Witkoff takes back to Washington will be absolutely key. You know, we've had cautious optimism in the past. We've seen this before. Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the White House last month. We were poised for some sort of news on a ceasefire breakthrough. That didn't come, and the talks broke down. So I think there is very cautious optimism that there'll be a breakthrough this time on this visit, but it certainly does seem to have become a priority for Donald Trump. He's under pressure in America now with the approval rating for the war in Gaza at its lowest level since the war began. Now, you know, Hamas are reported to have said yesterday that they're willing to re-engage in negotiations, but Benjamin Netanyahu said just a week ago that they are now looking at an alternative plan to get all the hostages back, rather than just some of them, which was originally being discussed in the ceasefire negotiations. And a senior Israeli official has spoken to Israeli media today and said that they are looking now, America and Israel, at a new understanding of a new approach when it comes to Gaza. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But certainly, I think there's very little confidence in American and Israeli solutions when it comes to Gaza. So we'll have to see what happens today.